This is Coop with GARAGEGYMREVIEWS.com, and today I'm going to detail the best specialty bar out there, and that specialty bar is the Kabuki Strength Duffalo Bar.
Memory is a dynamic system. It's a repetition of rhythms.
For years, companies have been producing Buffalo bars, okay? Lots of companies with Buffalo bars. You know, I've used everybody from New York barbells to, you know, the ones that Elite FTS sells, and there's a lot of ones out there. But nobody has really spent a lot of time going into detail in perfecting that bar. Everybody's focused on Olympic barbells and making Olympic barbells the best they can, especially with the introduction of CrossFit and its explosive growth. Chris Duffin is essentially taking pieces of equipment that have been around for many years and making them the best they can. And that's exactly what he's done with the Duffalo Bar. Okay, the Duffalo Bar is undoubtedly the best Buffalo bar you can buy. What separates the Duffalo Bar from every other Buffalo bar out there is not just the extreme attention to detail that Chris Duffin places on these, and they are made in the USA, which is also cool. One of the biggest difference is the camber of the actual bar. The camber is a much deeper camber than what you'd find on typical Buffalo bars. The Duffalo Bar has a much deeper camber with, you know, using probably a much higher quality steel. I believe it's 190,000 PSI tensile strength. And then, you know, the sleeves are also lifted up. So the idea is that since the sleeves are lifted up, you can put weight on and the weight's not gonna slip off. The model I received is actually a plated version. Traditionally, when they came out with them, they made a raw steel version, and that was the only one they sold. They still make that version. It's slightly cheaper. In my opinion though, if you're using this in an environment that isn't, you know, air conditioned or heated, you know, doesn't have climate control, if like in a garage like what I'm in, do not buy a raw steel bar. Okay, if you buy a raw steel bar, it's gonna rust like crazy. I recently did a review on the Crane's Oki deadlift bar, and it's a raw steel bar, and I've had it for maybe 5 weeks, and it's already, you know, really rusted. So the camber on the bar is higher, the plating is awesome, it's got a little bit tilted sleeves, as I've said, and then the knurl is exact, okay? I don't know, you know, what machines they're using to do the knurl, but I do know you can tell who have spent more money on their knurling than other companies, at least the equipment, because you can easily tell. When you look at kind of cheap Chinese bars from like companies that are importing them, like again Faster used to do, and some of the other companies, the knurling is always, you know, it's cheap, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't stop exactly, but what you find with the Kabuki Duffalo Bar is the knurling is just exact. It's not over aggressive, but you know it's there, so it's gonna stick to your back when you're using bench press or when you're doing squats, and then sticks to your hands when you're using it for bench as well, or rows. A couple other features to mention. One, the sleeve length is longer than a normal barbell. So if you're somebody like Chris Duffin who's throwing tons of plates on, that's gonna help you. It doesn't really help me because I'm not that strong. But you know, if you are loading heavy plates, or say if you're using high temp plates, you could probably load 4 to 5 high temp plates on here, whereas with a normal bar, you would not be able to load that many on there. The spin, I believe it's a bushing system that they use for the sleeve, and it spins well. It's not like, you know, a crazy good spin, but it's not used for Olympic lifting, so you really don't want it to spin too much. You would like a little bit of play there, but not too much, and that's exactly where it's at. I like the spin, I like how much it has. You know, some companies will put too much emphasis on that, and it's not a really important feature for a bar like this. There's even features like on the sleeves here that has Duffalo Performance squat bar. You know, just everything about this bar is special. It even has an attachment that no other barbell has had. It's one of the first in the world. I think it's patented, or it's at least patent pending. The idea is it adds a hook here that you screw in, and then with the hook, you throw on bands. So rather than having to throw on bands and then having to put your plates on and really having the inability to add more bands because it's just too hard to take the bands off and put them over the weights, what you can do is it just has a hook that attaches directly to the sleeve, so you just put the bands on, and if in the middle of the workout you're like, okay, we have somebody who's not as strong or wants to do more speed work, whatever, you can take the heavier band off and put the lighter band on immediately. You know, for guys who are powerlifting and are using a lot of accommodating resistance, that's gonna be an awesome feature, and one that I think a lot of people are gonna use. Okay, not everything with the Kabuki Duffalo Bar is sunshine and rainbows. Okay, there is one issue that I do not like about the Kabuki bar, and it's really one that's kind of unavoidable, and that is the way it sits in the rack. I have a standard R3 power rack. Okay, this is one similar to what a lot of you guys own. Because of the arc and because of how wide the arc goes, it doesn't sit in the power rack right. So it ends up going upside down, going back and forth. You have to flip it upside down to use it, things like that. So this is just my suggestion to Kabuki Warrior. Create a J cup that holds the Duffalo bar in place. Okay, because not everybody has a mono-lift, and so a lot of people that are using these, they do use them in mono-lifts, but a lot of people are just using them just like me, in a normal power rack. I think that'd be a great idea, and me personally, I would definitely purchase it. So who should buy the Kabuki Warrior Duffalo Bar by Chris Duffin? Well, I think the Kabuki bar fits very well for somebody who already has a barbell and is looking to get into specialty bars. If you want to buy specialty bars, this would probably be one of the first specialty bars that I'd buy. I'd buy it before a safety squat bar or a multi-grip bar, things like that, because this is going to be a more versatile bar for you. Not only that, once you start using it for different movements, it's super comfortable, and it's just a great feeling bar. You can do high bar squats with this, you can do low bar, so if you're an Olympic lifter and you're like, I want to get stronger, but I only squat high bar, how does this work out? It works fine for high bar Olympic squats. It works just as well for low bar. If you want to add some benching, and I've actually been using this for overhead press. I do a lot more overhead press than I do bench press, so I've been adding this into my overhead press. Feels super comfortable. You know, you have to get a little bit deeper into the rack, so you have to get a little bit deeper into your shoulders because it has the camber, but coming out of the hole feels very comfortable, very natural, and it's an awesome bar. It's weird to think that, you know, really the only barbells that people use are straight bars, and once you start using a bar with a camber, you know, it's like, why are people still in the prehistoric ages? You know, because when we have technology like this and we have the ability to have bars like this, give them a shot and see how they help your performance. Okay, so this has been Coop with GarageGymReviews.com. Hope you like this review. Check out the site. I'll put a link below for you to check out the full in-depth written review that I'll do on this bar, and we'll see you later.